Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like things are steaming up for real this week. And guess what? It looks like the House Democrats' relief plan does not change limits for the $1,400 stimulus check. Let me repeat that. The previous salary limits that were mentioned last week, meaning when people were talking about if you make less than 50,000, 40,000, 80,000, that has all been changed because the numbers are completely different. And this may actually surprise you. Democrats are also pushing for $15 minimum wage, and they're really trying to do it. Independents are going to be worth $1,400 a pop. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. What is up, you guys? You Romeo here with another episode for your stimulus update with Freedom Nation. I'm going to go straight to it. Just the facts, as you guys know how I roll. And if you don't believe me, it's okay. That's why I have the articles here to show you the proof. All right. So last Monday, the relief plan was agreed upon, and we're moving on forward with the process of reconciliation. And now the details of what was in the actual relief bill is being exposed now. And so we're going to get right into that. If you guys remember, last week there were actual proposals from the Republican side that were mentioning dropping the actual number as far as salary cutoffs for people who would receive the actual relief checks. And so it went from like 80,000 if you're a couple down to like 50,000 to 40,000. The numbers were starting to get outrageous, and the Democrats were just honestly not having it. And so without, I guess, many people knowing, because it's coming off as a shock now, that they actually kept the numbers the same as last year. Take a look at this article with me from CNBC, and it says here for the past week there were some reports that Democrats might lower the income eligibility thresholds for stimulus checks for the previous two payments, but the text of the new bill includes a $1,400 payment for individuals earning up to $75,000 per year, and that's individuals, and their dependents. So which means your dependents get also $1,400. And then which would be $2,800 for married couples earning up to $150,000, and that's if you file jointly, of course. Okay, so here's what that looks like, which means a family of four that meets all the eligibility requirements would receive $5,600. Now this, I believe, would move the needle in families who are in need right now to catch up on bills and catch up with any other payments that they need to keep things kind of mended together, right? While we wait for the remainder of the relief to take its, effect, right? And the other programs that people are part of, like the SNAP benefit program and, unemployment insurance and all of that. But this right here, $5,600 for a family of four, that makes sense. And I feel like that would definitely make a dent in somewhat in what the people need right now in the economy. So again, for those of you guys asking, the income in which they're going to base this off of is the taxpayer's adjusted gross income, which is the AGI, would be able to come from either your 2019 tax or 2020 tax year. So for those of you guys who haven't filed yet, because I think it's not even open yet for this year anyway, for 2020, February 12th is when it opens officially, but it looks like they're going to allow people to use their 2019 gross adjusted income in order for you to qualify for this. So pretty much it sounds like nothing has changed from the requirements of last year. And so this is what they're pushing for. Now, again, granted, nothing's been finalized yet, but this is what's on the bill to be voted on this week. So this just came in a few hours ago. I just wanted to make sure I let you guys know as soon as it came in, because this is pretty important. I think a lot of people would be happy to hear this, and people who are worried about, especially in my comment section, who are thinking whether they would be qualified or not. Well, that's your answer. If you qualified for the previous stimulus check, then it looks like you will be in the running for it. The other interesting thing is that it says the stimulus payment phases out between $75,000 to $100,000 for individuals, meaning one person, right? And between $150,000 to $200,000 for couples filing jointly. So heads of household, you would get the same all the way up to $112,000 or $112,500. So what that essentially means is that between $75,000 to $100,000, if you're an individual, there will be some type of phasing out as far as like the amount you'd be able to earn in between that, and then $150,000 to $200,000 for couples filing jointly. Again, that would apply to you as well. Now, another good thing is that adult dependents that were previously excluded from the past stimulus checks would actually be eligible for the third round under the House plan, which is what they have in the bill. This includes many college students, disabled adults, and elderly Americans who are claimed on someone else's tax return. So for those of you guys on those particularly unique situations, this would apply directly to you. So I hope that that actually helps some of you guys out there for sure. And again, with this new framework that they're putting into the bill, Americans would be eligible for more money this go around. If you see here, it says many households will get significantly more money under this framework than they did in the first two rounds. For example, and this is a great example, a two-parent household with an 18-year-old dependent that met the eligibility requirements would have received $2,400 in the first round. If you guys remember, everyone who was eligible got $1,200. But it says now they would get $4,200 because their adult dependent would actually qualify for the $1,400 stimulus check. So 1,400 times 3, and there you go, $4,200. Now, there is also an update for the child tax credit, and where they're trying to actually give or offer $3,600 per child over the course of a year for each child under the age of 6. I want you to read with me. It says the committee released details Monday of other significant parts of the aid package, including a new child income tax for millions of American households, and the benefit would offer $3,600 per child over the course of a year for each child under 6 years old, as well as $3,000 per child for each age 6 to 17. And that right there is actually pretty impressive. So this would be broken down obviously throughout the course of a year. It says those child tax benefits would diminish for those singles who are earning more than $75,000 a year, and couples who are earning over $150,000 jointly. So essentially what that boils down to is that if you have a child that's between, under the age of 6, you're going to be offered a $3,600 check, right? So if you divide that, so that's a $300 check per month for an entire year. And again, if you have a child between the ages of 6 to 17, that's a $3,000 check. And all at once, of course, that'd be broken down over the course of a year, which that would be $250 per month. And that's going to be over the course of a year as well. So this, again, is another way of boosting up the quality of checks that people will be receiving, especially during this actual pandemic. And I think that would actually, we're hearing things that are going to most likely creating a dent in this situation, right? And actually doing a lot of good, where people can have more money in their pockets to be able to make not only ends meet, but to be able to keep themselves from going into that poverty state, you know what I mean? Because it's slowly getting there day by day. Each day that an American is not able to pay their rent or able to pay their bills, they're running into the risk of actually going into poverty. And now speaking in terms of unemployment, listen up. It says that the measure would also extend federal employment benefits now, which is set to expire mid-March, which is why everybody's racing to make sure they get it done before mid-March, through the end of August. So they're trying to extend it through the end of August and increase the benefit, which is currently at $300 per week, to $400 per week, according to Biden's initial plan, which called for funding an additional unemployment benefits through September. So that's good news for people who are waiting for unemployment. But I know it's not happening yet. So I can't just say, oh, it's good news, but it's good that it's actually on paper for it to be voted upon. We're at the point where decisions are being made, or things are being talked through. And I know there's a lot of talking been going on. So I know you guys are waiting for actual, answers, right? I understand that. So, but what I'm saying is that there's actual movement, right, happening, and people are pushing for greater amounts, so that way you will have more to take home at the end of the week. So that right there is what I'm looking at optimistically, hoping that this will go through. And now those waiting for the update on minimum wage, here we go. It says here that additionally, Democrats included a $15 minimum wage in the package, although Biden has said that the provision faces long odds in the Senate, which it has. People feel very, very strongly about this. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office released a report on Monday that estimates that the minimum wage increase would cost about 1.4 million jobs, meaning it would cost 1.4 million jobs to be cut in order for this to happen. But it says would lift 900,000 people out of poverty, right? Intensifying the debate over the controversial provision. Now, again, I mentioned this in a previous video I made about the unemployment and how Steve Forbes mentioned this as well. Raising that minimum wage would cut 1.4 million jobs. That's 1.4 million people who are now without a job. And not to say that they're immediately in, some of them maybe immediately fall within the poverty line or under the poverty line, but now that's 1.4 million other people that's at risk of going into the poverty, right? And I know it says it would lift 900,000 people out of poverty, but you just introduced 1.4 million possible risks, if that, right, into the poverty line or under. And that's a very, 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 very important thing to bring up, because now you're risking more jobs or more people's lives to save and lift a few more out of poverty. It's just kind of like robbing Peter to pay Paul. I'm not sure if that's actually a great idea, which that's just my personal opinion. Who am I? So Richard Neal mentioned a good point. He says, our nation is struggling. The virus is still not contained, and the American people are counting on Congress to meet this moment with bold, immediate action. And he couldn't have said it any better. So there's a lot of back and forth, as you guys know. That is no surprise. But the real answer is, when exactly is this going to pass, right? And for anyone wondering, there's a long way to go before the final bill text is agreed upon and income thresholds could change. Lawmakers hope to pass the legislation by March 14th. You heard it here, not me, not coming from me directly, but you heard it here, and this is coming from a CNN article, and I want to give it to you guys straight. Anybody else who's saying anything otherwise is speculating, all right? As you guys know, March 14th, right here, you read it. That's their goal. They're hoping to get that done by that date, and which I already mentioned before, because that's the date when the unemployment is expected to end, and so they have to make a decision before that point, because, trust me, we have a lot of gas going on in the nation. If you light a match, that would be it. Period. So with that being said, it looks like the salary limits have been unchanged from previous. So it looks like if you're making $75,000 single, you're still eligible. And if you're a couple making $150,000 up to 200, you're still eligible as well. Of course, between that bracket, there will be some types of phase outs where you'll be getting paid not the full amount, but you'll be getting something that's commensurate to what you're earning. And so also for unemployment, they're looking and debating very heavily about $15 an hour. And unemployment, they're looking to bump from 300 to 400, as we already knew. But now that that's in the bill officially, I think that is what matters the most. And then the most important actual piece is, when is this all going to take place, besides hearing all this talk going back and forth? Nobody cares. I don't care about the talking back and forth. When are we actually going to see some actionable stuff happen? And it looks like March 14th, and that's straight from the article from CNN, guys. Look, that is your update for today. Please, please, please do me a favor. If you haven't joined the Freedom Family, please do so right now. I give you the updates. And not only that, I don't just bring the news and the woes of stimulus package, but we're also going to be coming up with new content to showing you how to create new sources of income from home, since this is going to be the new thing for a while. And hopefully it's going to be not so bad, because opportunities are arising and companies are adapting to people working from home, which is a good thing. But it's no good if you don't know about the opportunity. So that's our job here at Freedom Nation. Please click subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the like button as well, because it helps the video gets pushed across the algorithm so people can see it. And again, share this with a friend who needs a quick update, because that's my goal. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace and love as always.